Hey, bird dogs, wholesalers, and investors. I don't know what that red hue is about. I don't know what happened there. But, okay. We are doing an interview today with Rick from Flip with Rick. And so he's here. He just joined the live. Let me see if we can add into here. Hey, Rick.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly now.
Okay, sorry about that. Different platforms, different techniques. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. S- So, awesome. So I'm glad we can talk right now. So,
Yeah, like it's weird because now that your microphone and stuff is working, it's like my camera's acting weird, but
uh,
at
it's
least at
it's
least we're here now.
don't worry. I like the old school ways where you can actually meet up with people and do everything. And this entire year has been really tough for that.
Honestly,
Um,
yeah.
so that's awesome.
Well, that's
Awesome.
great. I actually did go to a RIA meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was very refreshing to like be in person with people.
Yeah, no, it's before all this happened, I spent as much time networking and in the last few years flying all over the country, just finding stuff outside of Florida. And I love to put it like all together. So I've been doing this since 2003. So as now I have my son Zach that works in the business with me. I'm kind of like the old school guy now. So it feels like I just started yesterday. It really does.
So
So
your primary market is Florida?
I do Florida, and I have lots of virtual markets right now. But I always suggest everybody, start in your backyard, which is how I did it in South Florida.
Mhm.
And with today's technology and stuff, it's too easy not to spread across the United States. There's too many tools available, and it's really easy to work with bird dogs, as you know. And so we JV partner up with people all over the country. And my thrill is always in the hunt for real estate. And that's my draw. And it's my adrenaline rush. So I'm going on 18 years now. And
Okay.
I've solved my biggest problem. I thought I'd always run out of deals after my first 2 years. And I'm telling you, 18 years after this, I never run out of deals. Um, you still have to work for it. You still got to hustle, and you got to stay connected. But it's a lot of fun. Florida is a really fun market. It seems like everybody's kind of moving here and migrating here.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so you know, it's fun, and it's a lot of fun having my son involved in the business. My wife's involved in the business, and then I got people I work with all over the country. So I love it. I love it.
Uh,
So I love bird dogs especially. I spent a lot of time networking with bird dogs and trying to figure out how to scale it. And nothing replaces the human interaction, no matter what you do.
no
So
argument there.
yeah. So
We are going to get to that topic in a minute, but I did want
okay.
to ask you, what made you get into real estate investing?
Um, I'll give you the short story. I did everything I was supposed to do. Um, I I went and got a college education. To be fully honest, I went to a community college because I didn't really have the grades or the discipline in school. Um, I never, I always felt like I was a little bit different in school. I never had the attention span. I was, I was always talkative, um, bit of a class clown type of deal. Um,
Mhm.
and I went away to college because that's what I was told to do. And after along with the 5.5, 6 years, finally got my degree, and I worked in corporate America for 11 years, 11 painful years, and
Mhm.
I made a lot of money doing it, and I just hated working every day. I hated what I did. I didn't believe in it, and They wanted to transfer me all over the country. So I don't like the snow. I don't understand snow at all. I like warm weather, and my family was in Florida, so I had to make a decision. And I went to a seminar pitching real estate. To be brutally honest with you, they taught me how to do everything wrong, just how to buy and hold, but I knew there had to be more. So I think I bought 4 or 5 properties. I ran out of getting loans, and then I figured out this thing, wholesaling. And 2004 is when I really dove in. And I said, if I could put away 1 year's salary, I'd quit my job. And lo and behold, I went on a mission. I kept my job first. I tell people, don't put the added stress and pressure of flipping. It does take some time to learn the business. And I just dove in and did, to be honest with you, I door knocked, and I did direct mail, and I JV'd with other wholesalers. And within 8 months, I put enough money away and basically fired my boss. Probably one of my favorite days of my career. And I haven't looked back since. It's been an amazing run, and I wouldn't have done it if I was going to go back and do it. I would have skipped college and gone right into wholesaling, but I didn't figure out that blueprint. So I have a degree on the wall, and I didn't get much from it. And today, it's even more magnified. So a degree is just a degree. It's just a piece of paper. It shows you went through an institution. But today, more than ever, I don't think you can rely on these companies to take care of you, and you have to look out for yourself. And even if you have a career, it's wise to invest in real estate, other items. You know, real estate's not the only thing, but I tell everybody you should own some real estate other than your own personal house. So that was almost 18 years ago, and I was scared to death. I can't tell you how nervous I was, and to be honest with you, it worked out really well. A lot of people in my family, they still is trying to figure out what I do, because the number one reason why I left real estate was to spend more time with my family. So I worked 80 hours a week for 10 years. And I said, if I could take that same discipline and do it in my own business. And it worked out well. I didn't have to quite work 80 hours, but if I worked 30 hours a week, I spent 40 hours reading books and, learning how to do real estate. So it's, you can't just spend 10 hours when you jump in this business. 10 hours, it's not about physical work. It's all, you got to clear the cobwebs out of here. And once I did it and I connected with other people that I tried to aspire to, it was, I just removed all my limiting beliefs. So I work when I want, however I want, but I love real estate. And if I lost my physical capabilities to walk, if I ever got stuck with an illness or something, I feel like I could still always do real estate. And I don't think people ever, I've never met somebody in real estate that retired, by the way. They just love, they just enjoy it. And so here I am doing it. We're going through, now I started in 2003. So I went through the '07 to '09, major crash. Mm-hmm. And I learned a lot with that. And now we're kind of watching play by play on how this whole COVID political environment washes out. And, it's going to get interesting. It's interesting. But what I've learned is I sat there for 3 months and I didn't let fear paralyze us. We had to figure out how to meet with homeowners and make everyone feel protected. And that was our biggest challenge. So we used some technology. Most of it, though, was common sense. Just, if somebody wants you to wear a mask, we wear a mask. Most of our deals, we could talk to them on the doorstep, leaves plenty of space. Some people didn't care. Some were paranoid. And we just learned to adapt. And here's a tip for anybody who watches this video. Stop worrying about where the market's going to go and just be active. Wholesaling is all about everything that happens today. We are not speculators that try to figure stuff a year or two down the road. We transact today. So I'm a little bit more liberal in how I invest. My rule is I don't own a property more than 90 days unless that's the plan to hold it for a long-term rental. So I saw a lot of people stopped in February and March, mostly March. And now they're just starting out. Well, they missed out on a whole plethora of deals. Like our pipeline's it's really been full. So, just keep going. I can't tell you who's going to get elected. I can't tell you when a vaccine's going to come out. It's all out of my control. So all I can do is provide a service and network with sellers and buyers and be a problem solver and make it happen. So for that, so I love real estate. So I get more thrill out of finding the deal. And once I have it under contract, I'm bored out of my mind. It doesn't mean I don't finish it, but I have my son and other people help me, my wife especially, they just help us take it to the closing. So the minute we get one under contract, I'm like, where's the next 4 coming from? Because you probably have that same disease I do, is you're always looking ahead to the next deal. So like realtors like to get stuff signed up and listed and then go through that selling. And I'm like, no, let's move it. So most of the stuff we sell is cash, but we do a lot of wholesaling now. And I love it. So 18 years, I've never ran out of deals. So you can tell anybody you work with, if I can't run out of deals in 18 years in Florida, then there's no reason. And I work with students all over the country, and it's like I blow their mind what I could show, what they can do in their market. It's really, and I tell them it's all about them. All you do is got to find a direction, but you got to go out there and bust your butt. So, and I like to talk.
I see you. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I see you really love real estate. You're very, very passionate about the industry. So this might be a bit of a loaded question, but what's your inspiration for investing in real estate and wholesaling and everything?
As I said, it always comes back to, I think anything you do in life, you have to have intention. So the old theory was do what you love. Sounds great, right? But that doesn't always work out. So let me give you an example. I love the outdoors. I love to go on boats. I love to go fishing. I love to go hiking. But I looked at that, and some very good friends of mine, fishing captains, stuff like that. But I noticed when people did what they love for a living, but they didn't understand the business side, it can really tax you quickly. Meaning, so if I was going to be a fishing guide, my problem was if you charge $1,000 a day and say you fished 350 days a year, which you can't with the weather, especially in Florida, that's $350,000 is the most you can make. And then half of that, about 70% goes to expenses. And you're talking about 10, 12 hours a day. And I started looking at it, and I talked to people, and they go like, you're not going to love it if you do it for a living. And then that's when people came and go find something that you can do that enables you to do what you really love. And just make sure it aligns with your inner character. So I like to talk to people. I like to solve problems, and I like to really give back, create win-win situations. And I stumbled across real estate because I kept seeing the same thing. More people discovered wealth and freedom and time with real estate. I go, well, I got to give it a shot. I never had experience other than buying my own personal home through a realtor. So I said, I got to give it a shot. And I spent about a month studying it. And I said, let's just kind of go all in. So what I did is I dove in and I did it, and I saw the cash I could create. Then I figured out how to do cash flow. It did take me a while to learn how to multiply the wealth instead of just spending it like I used to in my old form. And that allowed me to take these long not luxurious, but just fishing trips to get out for a week. I took a month. I took a month off and took my wife to Europe for our, God, what was it? Now you're going to get me in trouble. I believe our 20-year anniversary. I promised her. I took an entire summers off. I've taken December off. And
Nice.
So the reality was to be able to spend more time, because the biggest complaint I had when I worked for corporate America is I was on call 24/7, like whenever they needed something. And what I would do is I would go I worked for a enterprise rent-a-car. So they recruited me out of college. Thank God they work you like a dog. And basically we rent cars, and I would go out and sign up all the accounts. Like, you're really good at like recruiting people. and they would give me territories. And then they started having me doing commercial leases with absolutely no experience. And
Okay.
I'm like, if you guys would give me some training, I could do some serious damage. Well, I learned how to talk to brokers and other people, and that kind of
Mm.
led me to it. And then I was always itching to get the freedom. So what I do now is I do the real estate. Um, I work in the morning, I work in the middle of the day, and then usually at the end of the day, I'm answering calls and going over everything. So the gift is like when my kids became teenagers, I was able to spend a ton of time with them. The reason I did that is because I didn't get a lot of time from my father at the time. So it was, I decided I would like, when you have kids, they're only kids for so long and you have to savor like every moment of it. So I dove in.
Yeah.
So I have, I think you met my son. He just turned 21. I started him investing. I started programming. He was exposed to it from 14, 15. In 17, he said, I want to go all in.
Okay.
And so he used to go, he was a wrestler in high school. And I thought it was a good self-discipline because I felt like real estate mimicked wrestling more than anything. Push your boundaries. And I showed him how to get bandit signs produced. And so we'd go to wrestling tournaments. And we would go in markets that we weren't really in. I go, if you want to give it a shot. And so he'd create these signs. He would stick them in before and after. And he got caught doing it during tournaments because he got so good at it. And I just taught him a script. And then I would help him in the beginning, and then he would start to close the deals at the end. So by 17, he did 6 deals on his own, created more than $100,000. And I told him, don't ever let your age define you, like anything ever define you. And he did exactly what I told him to do. And he didn't question anything. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's easy. That's your son. I go, I'm telling you, I was harder on my son than anyone I've ever taught. I was brutal. I didn't answer the phones for him. I didn't go on the appointments. So he had his first appointment when he was 17. He was meeting with a guy a little bit older than me in his mid-50s. And I was there. I just want to make sure he was safe. But I made him do the whole conversation. And the really cool part about real estate is it's not some big, sexy sales pitch. It's just helping
Right.
people, being real and solving problems. You are not this greasy salesperson. If you just solve a problem, like it works. And that was my biggest fear going to real estate. I didn't feel I was a super slick salesman, and I would have a hard time getting over it. And so probably my son's my greatest achievement in real estate. And to give my
Okay.
daughter credit, she is 19 and she's getting ready to graduate college. She's at University of South Florida and she wants to be in the medical field. So she wants to be a nurse practitioner. And
Okay.
she, I don't understand that part of it, but like we gave her the tools. And by the way, both my kids, they paid for their own education. I never gave them a dime for it. So they earned grants, they got good grades, and they got their AA degree while they were in high school. Because in the state of Florida, if you research the stuff, they pay for it for you. And so both of them got on the whatever the Lotto scholarship is. So Zach went to the University of Florida and he finished it in a year and a half. And my daughter's at like USF. So I've taught him college isn't bad, just get through it as fast as you humanly possibly can. And so Zach was done when he was 19 and he came back. So while he was at college though, he says, Dad, I want to run the cold calling program. I'm like, I'm having a tough time with it, getting people to work. So he recruited everybody in his dorm and they're all just cold calling him. And he would pay him, anywhere from $8 to $12 an hour. And he just deal after deal. He would actually leave college and go like write contracts. And I remember him telling me, he's like, what am I in college for? I go, that's up to you to decide. Like, I'm giving you the opportunity. But so he got his degree and he feels good about it. And he went to a very hard university. I would have never made it through there. And that's it. We've crossed that bridge and he's done with it. So he did learn, I will tell you, he did learn accounting, which helps me out a lot. And he learned how to read financial statements and balance. So I said, go find things in college that can be of use. Colleges have progressed, but like University of Florida has the School of Entrepreneurship, which kind of blows me away. But Um, so I believe colleges now are really set up for what I call trade schools for the practices, engineering, architecture, doctors. Like my daughter has to go through it to work in a
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
But for like business people like you and me, I don't care what degree you got when you work with me. I care, do you have an attitude and do you have the ability to get things done when I'm not around? Or like, will you cut through it? And that's the number one thing. So every time I hire someone and I get the long resume, I refuse, I don't even want to read it. Because A, most of them are lying. And number two is I'm not worried about where you came from. I'm worried, I want to focus on where you're taking me and what you're going to get out of it. And
Okay.
I, I've been through so many Craigslist. I used Indeed for years. I used Facebook. And
Mhm.
I try now to organically find people, meaning if I connect with you and you like, say we do a deal together, I go, my God, that was amazing. Like you just got through it. I made a lot of money. I didn't spend a lot of time. I want to work with you more. How can we work together? And we have that connection. And you go, well, I got
Thank
these
you in the
other two
comments.
deals and we just work on it. Then that's how I do relationships. And it's hard because I can't get an instant hire, but I'm always looking 6 months to a year in advance. So I just find that give me a college graduate, I just kind of like roll my eyes. Like they have no idea what the world's going to do to them when they come out. So,
I will be very, very honest with you, Rick. I did not know that the conversation would go this way
yeah.
because I actually do have a program that I started recently. It's called the Six Figure Bird Dog System for Wholesalers, and it's
Uh-huh.
literally what you had mentioned in the beginning is you're kind of looking for ways to get people onto your team without having to go through that whole entire process. And so what I'm going to do after we finish this interview, I'll go back in the Facebook group and I'll add you to the other group, the mastermind group. So you'll
Okay.
have access to the national bird dog list, and it's 24-hour access, so you can go on to it anytime.
Awesome.
And I'll send you the yeah, I'll send you the guide as well. It's just it's pretty much basically like you already know how to wholesale. You know, it's not
Mhm.
teaching people how to wholesale. It's literally just like this is how you can recruit bird dogs. This is how you can put them into an entire operation and not really worry about you know, quote unquote employee retention, but you do
Mhm.
know like they're bird dogs, so most likely they want to be wholesalers or whatever, but they could be with you for 5 years. You never know. It just depends on their process. So
Yeah,
um
I
that's
think if
but that's
people more
really,
took the
really that's really
attitude,
great.
I think if people would take more of the
Mm-hmm.
attitude like I want to work with you, and as long as we have like the mutual respect and we're both earning money, making money, if you want to get up and fly your wings off and spread them, that's it. That's what I do with my own children. Why wouldn't you treat them? If you ever think you can hold an employee down and make sure they work for you forever, that's not everybody's MO. And the
Right.
problem is most of us, we try to hire someone that's like never, like we're all worried about, oh, they're going to cut me out of a deal or they're going to be my competition. My three biggest competitors all worked for me. And they're all
Mm-hmm.
people you know that nationally sell. I'm not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of coaching, millions and millions of dollars of coaching. And guess who taught
Mm.
them all? I didn't teach everyone, but I taught, you know what? It is what it is. Like, how am I going to hold them down? I knew when they worked for
Right.
me, I'm like, oh my God, like, you're amazing. Like, when people are amazing, they're going to wind up doing amazing things. And so
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, so I find if you tell them that up front, it takes the edge off of it and they feel so everything in life to a point has to be a win-win transaction. Otherwise, it's going to tip against somebody and it usually blows up in your face. You can do that with relationships, families, marriages, and especially business. And that's it. Like I have someone now that's really good. I'm like, I know one day you're just gonna like spread your wings. But if I plant that seed, they always come back and they're like, hey, I'm working on this apartment building and I don't know how to get funding for it. I go, there you
Mm.
go. But like, so we wind up doing a partnership as opposed to doing like an employee relationship. And at least they come to me instead of bringing it to somebody else from the outside. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the deals
Right.
I do right now is people like, they just know I know how to do stuff. They know I've been around a long time and they know I have access to a lot of money. but I'm brutally honest. Like when I do bird dog, I don't have like, if I'm not mentoring and teaching you, like we're gonna have a 5 minute conversation. And if it meets the snuff test, we'll move forward. If not, I'm gonna say, dude, you got to go back and renegotiate it. Unless you can wipe 20 grand off of it, you're gonna get killed. And like, I just saved you a ton of pain. And so back in the day when I started wholesaling, the good news is there wasn't nearly as much competition. I was like, oh, it must have been amazing. Yeah, it was scary though, because there was no information. So we were going like blindly through it. Now we have all this information, and I find common sense has kind of gone out the window. So we get a lot, I see a lot of new people who start out, and listen, YouTube, you can get an incredible education. Like if I want to learn something and I'm not familiar, I'll go to YouTube and study it. Never in the history of we have so much information available to do anything. The problem is people will take that first hour or two of training and try to run with it. And it'll get you out the door. And if you work with a great bird dog program like you guys do, that's great. Because to me, the connection is everything. But if you try to take that thing all the way down and you don't understand the contracts, you don't understand how deposits work, and you have absolutely no ability to ever fund it, if everything doesn't work out perfect, I don't want to meet with a homeowner and disappoint them. I hate that. I never ever do it. Like it's common sense. But today it seems like there's a lot more people like just put on the contract, we'll figure it out later. No. You need to figure it out up front, because these are people that are depending on you. So I do a lot of deals of people falling through, especially on this virtual marketing. And I tell them, I'll always be there. Like, we will get it done. Now, well, Rick, what if I have no money and I'm starting out? Get yourself aligned with a program that can back you up. But do not call me the day before the contract's expiring expecting a miracle. Right. Because I can't do a partnership with you on it. So I think it's great. There's a ton of information out there now, but I don't think people is going nearly as deep as they need to. And it's hard because it's like, I get a little bit from this one, I get a little bit from that one. It's like, and so like whenever I mentor someone, I said, you got to be all in with me because everyone's going to advise you otherwise. So I've done over 1,100 deals myself, 1,100. Like I know like what I'm doing. And so I'm learning a lot of stuff with the virtual marketing because it's like, to me, I didn't want to do it until I was ready. It's hard when you're thousands of miles away from something like, so now I got to rely on other people. And we share a lot more in the profits because I need a lot more people to pull their weight. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's good and bad, but I'm just telling you, anybody out there who wants to get started in real estate, either find a mentor, or if you want to do an earn and learn program, which I highly recommend, is align yourself with someone that can help you. If you can find the deal, which there's a lot of money into, have someone walk you through and get you through it. Sharing the profits, it's going to minimize your risk. And more than ever, it's going to solidify that this stuff works. And that light bulb goes off whenever I have a student. I remember my son did his first deal. I remember when I did my first deal. When it worked and the money hit the bank account, I go, I am in. But I got to be honest with you, I was tiptoeing before that. I'm like, what am I going to do if this doesn't work out? And so it's proof of concept. So your subconscious is telling you this ain't going to work. And then you go with a conscious check and then you align yourself. And it's like, man, once you do that, you just start running, go, I can duplicate this over and over again. So like,
I feel you. I feel you on that. But we're about to hit that, what's up with the connection? No. Well, ironically, we're about to hit that 30-minute mark. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Okay. We're about to hit the 30-minute mark. Oh my gosh. Like this was so full of energy, and I love your energy. Oh my gosh. This was awesome. We definitely have to talk more, and I'm definitely going to add you to the mastermind group too. And if you can talk to other people who are in the group as well about how you work with bird dogs and everything else. We might have to do a part 2 to this so we can talk about bird dogs a little bit more. But like you said,
I got a lot of experience
wouldn't recommend, like jumping into the contracts, like work with someone who actually knows what they're doing beforehand. But thank you so much, Rick. Tell Zach I said hi. That's awesome. your whole story just reminded me of my family. My sister is about to graduate college. She just sent me 41 houses. She went driving for dollars the other day, and
Awesome.
it's just like, oh, it's
One of my,
amazing.
yeah,
But
one of my
thank
favorite
you
ways. But
so much.
it's, just have your why. And like I like my family. Like I'm always around, so it's like I do this. I've had offices. I've tried everything, and I just ended a long-term lease, and we're all virtual now. We just spend all our money towards marketing, and I love it. So remember, if a 17-year-old can do this, anybody can do it. There's no limitations on what you can do, but a good
Thank you.
attitude's required. So
Thank you so much in the comments. You guys are awesome. I hope I say this right. Is that TW1 Kennedy? I think that's what it is. You've been very
yeah.
interactive in the live. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if anybody needs to connect with me, we have a free group on it's Facebook, Flip with Rick, Instagram, and we're very interactive. And a lot of people reach out to me, try to figure out like what's going on. But bird dogs are awesome because that's kind of how I got started in it. So I love it. I love it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I will talk to you later and I'll add you to the group in a few minutes.
Awesome. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right, bye, you
Bye.
guys.